Now, we are going to start a new topic called fractions. Now, in fractions, we are going to tackle the following subtopics. One, we will simplify. What? We'll simplify the fractions to the smallest using the cancellation. Then two, we will convert, we'll do conversion of fractions to decimals, and B, also decimals to fractions. Then after that, we'll do addition. 3, addition. We'll do addition. And also do subtraction. And these two will do using the LCM. Then we'll also do 5. Multiplication. Of a mixed number by a whole number. Now, conversion of fractions to decimals, or decimals to fractions. We are supposed to have done conversion. This should be after simplification. Then you do 1AB, which should be conversion of a mixed number to an improper fraction. And that will be A. And then B, we are supposed to do then an improper fraction to a mixed number. Those are the subtopics that we'll be dealing with in fraction. Now, if you go to the first part, whereby we do the simplification, this is where we will be simplifying a given number, so that we can get a smaller fraction. For example, when you take 20 over 40, I can simplify this and get a smaller fraction that means the same. What is simplification? Simplification is the opposite of looking for equivalent fraction. For example, when you're in class 4, we looked for equivalent fractions of 1.5, whereby we were getting we were multiplying the two numbers, the numerator and the denominator, by a similar number. For example, if I start with the smallest one, it will be 2. So I multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. And here, 1 times 2 will be 2 over 2 times 2 will give 4. So this means that 1 over 2 is the same as 2 over 4. Now we also did 1 over 2 again, multiply maybe 3 and by 3, whereby you'll get 1 divided by 3, you'll get 3, and 2 divided by 3, you'll get 6. Meaning this number is the same as, this fraction is the same as 1/2. So I can also write 3 over 6. Now I can continue and continue and continue by multiplying the numerator and the denominator with the same number. Now if, for example, I started with this and I'm told, now can you simplify 3 over 6? Then it will mean the number I multiplied with here to get 3 over 6, I multiplied my 1/2 to get 3 over 6 was 3. So I can use it as a common factor to divide the two numbers. For example, here I can use 3 and say 3 divided by 6 is 1, and 6 divided by, so I'm doing 3 divided by 3 by cancelling, and I'll get 1. And here I'll do 6 divided by 3 because my common factor, which I used here to multiply with, is 3. So when I divide 6 divided by 3, I'll get 2. Meaning I've come back to where I started. So when I simplify 1 over 3 over 6, I'll get 1 over 2. What about 2 over 4? I want to simplify. Here initially I multiplied by 2. 1 by 2 to get 2, and I multiply 2 by 2 to get 4. So meaning these numbers, these two numbers that are representing the numerator and the denominator, then can be divided by a common factor, and my common factor here is 2. So if I take 2 divide by 2, I'll get 1. And if I get now 4 divide by 2, I'll get 2. Meaning my answer will be 1 over 2, which is the one I started with. So in short, we are using the common factors to simplify the given numbers. For example, if I take now 20 over 40, I'll have to simplify step by step using the common factor. The easiest thing to do is to use the smallest factor, which is 2, and I say, because these two are even numbers, and I say 20 divided by 2 is 10, and 40 divided by 2 is 20. So my first step will be to get 20 over 10 over 20. Then I continue and I say, or I divide 20 by I divide by a common factor, and in our case I can do 2 again. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. So then I'll have 5 over 10. Then I can continue further because I can see that these two numbers have a common factor called 5. So I can do 5 divided by 5, I get 1, and 10 divided by 5, I get 2. So the answer will be 1 over 20, 1 over 2. Meaning, if this 20 over 40 is the same as 10 over 20 and is the same as 5 over 10 and is the same as 1 over 2. Like I said when we started, that when I'm looking at simplification, is the opposite of equivalent fractions. So we're just playing with these numbers. Let's do the last one, which is, let's say 24 over 36. This was a question. So I can use a common factor, and I can even use 4, for example, because 24 is divisible by 4, and it's also divisible by 4 here. So what do? By 4, 6. By 4, 9. The next common multiple factor here is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now I can see after simplifying, I've gotten 2 prime numbers, so I don't have to continue after getting the smallest prime numbers ever. So make sure when you simplify to the farthest, to the smallest fraction that you can get. Now, after simplification, because as you write your answers, and especially when you add and multiply and divide and add, you should always write your answer in the simplest form possible.